Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to install this Apex Badlands 12,000 pound winch onto my 2021 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon 392. I was dead set on using a Warn winch for the Jeep Rubicon 392. I had owned 3 of them in the past. 2 of them came with my 2 Ram Power Wagons that I have owned. The latter being the Warn Zeon 12S, which you could say is the direct competitor to this. Now there is like the Warn Evo series, but that's a little bit, how do I say it, not as robust as the Zeon series. And they are cheaper, but they're still more expensive than this Apex Badland, which, by the way, comes from Harbor Freight. And a lot of people, might think, oh, well, that automatically means this is a cheap item. I mean, it is cheaper, it is less money. But from what I've read and from what I've seen, the build quality of this is outstanding. And it's rugged, it's built to last. And people who own it have tested it out and say it works phenomenally well. And so for the price, I think this will be a very good winch for the money. And considering how often I did use winches in the past, which wasn't very often, it was mainly to help other people out, I think this one will do just fine. And the best winch to have is the one that you have on you. And I have been in several situations here in recent years where a winch probably would have come in handy to get me out of my predicament or situation, at least a little bit faster than it did end up taking me. Today I'm going to install this today. You will need a few other things to install this in a Rubicon 392 or any other Jeep Wrangler or Gladiator that comes with the steel bumper, the factory Mopar steel bumper. It has the proper cutouts to fit a winch and fit the Fairlead to run the winch line through, but in order to mount this to the Jeep, it has to be mounted to the frame, and you need a special winch plate for that. There's several on the market out there made by different manufacturers. I happen to have this Warn winch plate that came along with the Mopar steel bumper that I had bought previously for my Gladiator Mojave, and I installed that steel bumper, but I didn't have a winch, so I didn't put the winch plate in it yet. We'll see how this mounts up with the Badlands. I mean, this obviously is made by Warn, but the holes here are supposed to kind of be a universal fit for most winches, and I believe it will work with this. And also, just came in, this is a cover to replace the plastic cover that's in front of the steel bumper's front cover for where the Fairlead gets installed. That's another thing you'll need to attach the Fairlead to this. This comes with a Haas Fairlead already, I believe. So that's really great because, that's an added $35 if you buy it separate. What's funny is they don't mention anywhere on the box that it comes with that, but from unboxing videos I've seen, it does have it in there. So we're about to find out. I mean, it shows it in the picture. It doesn't say not included. Anyway, enough of me rambling on. Let's get this thing installed. One thing I like to do is measure the height of the Jeep before and after I install this winch because it's going to add a significant amount of weight to the Jeep. And that was part of the reason I purchased or installed the AEV 2.5-inch lift kit with the high capacity or heavy duty springs because I knew I was going to be adding a lot of weight to this. I've heard that it can lower the front end, pretty significantly, and that, combined with the rear still having the high capacity springs, it'll give it more of a forward rake, but we'll see. Actually, don't need that. Going up from the center of the wheel, it's right at between 43.5 and 43.75 of an inch. I'll just say it's 43.75. I'll measure the other side just to be sure. It's still right at 43.75 of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch higher than the other side. But I'm going to say 43.75 for our purposes. And this is in the garage, which should be pretty level. All right, you got the winch line dampener, or this could also be, this could go around the rope. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Got a guide to winching, a plethora of stickers, a owner's manual and safety instructions. Yes, it does come with the Fairlead. I am so glad I took back. I had actually bought, thinking it didn't have it, the Fairlead. It was in the store It was $35 extra, and this is a pretty stout looking Fairlead. It even has a warning label to tell you to use that red cloth strap to unhook the front hook so you don't cut yourself. Got miscellaneous hardware. Here's your winch controller, your in and out, and I believe it has a magnet so you can stick to wherever you need it, like the side of your vehicle if you just need a temporary place to put it. It's got a nice feel to that. Fairly nice. Miscellaneous hardware. Looks like this is your mounting bolts. Looks like you got some Fairlead bolts as well. Battery cables. This looks like a negative battery wire. I think it already comes pre-wired, but maybe the negative isn't. This is the physical controller cable to make it a wired cable. That would go into there, and this would go into the side of the winch controller on top, or wherever you decide to relocate it. You can relocate the controller, or the whatever it's called, the wired apparatus on top. Other miscellaneous hardware. Oh, here's your hook. This is supposed to be substantial, and it is. It's huge. It's like a forged steel hook. It's very stout. There's a lot of weight to it, and it's got a large opening. This is similar to the one that came on the Warn Zeon 12S that came with my Ram Power Wagon, except it's bigger. That's kind of nice. There's a lot more room to put more strap, soft shackle, hard shackle, whatever you're putting through there. That is very nice. All right, forget your trusty cloth strap for the hook. This looks like the relocation plate for the top control box. No, that's probably not the term, but this looks like the battery disconnect. It is. Come on out. It's pretty substantial, fairly easy to turn. Guessing green means it's a go, it's connected. It's actually really nice. I think I will install that. I mean, how much harder will it be? Put that on and it's... All right, you ready? Here's the good parts. Oh wait, what's this? What is this? This must be for relocating the wires. Put that over there. 80 pounds of winch. Oh, you got some more wires. Wow, the wires are all covered in wire loom already. That's great, because I think even the Evo comes with just the wires, just, you know, without any added wire loom. That's incredible. Look, they even heat shrinked all the way, not just to about here. They've heat shrunk it all the way onto the wiring loom itself, so water or dust or anything can't get in there. That's incredible packaging. Are you changing your mind about Harbor Freight yet? Wow. That is very substantial. It's gonna suck to have to grind part of that off. There you have it. The Apex Badland 12,000 pound winch from Harbor Freight. Yeah, this is for if you relocate this top control here. So you pull this off to put the wired control on here. Oh, and it has a button for wireless on off. Here, just to show you the back side. And what it looks like. Here's where the negative cable is going to go to the ground. Actually, that's another ground. You can see they've already wound the synthetic rope line onto the spool. It's nice. I mean, you still have to tension it, pre-tension it. Here's your wireless on-off switch. Okay, probably the first thing we have to do is remove this license plate bracket, which looks like it's already on its way to coming off. The Mopar steel bumper has this metal plate here to kind of cover this hole if you don't have a winch. I should be able to remove it with these 5 fasteners here using a T45 star bit, T45 Torx. As I thought, this front cover just clips into here using friction. Should be able to just push them out from the back side. Yep. Then you have these lovely things. Dang. And they're stiff. Okay, you're going to want to get underneath your bumper and remove the factory skid plate with a 13mm socket. There's 2 fasteners down here and 5 running across there. Some of these clips will come out. Now that I've disconnected the wiring harness, I'm going to remove these 8 nuts connecting the bumper to the frame using an 18mm deep socket. Go ahead and remove this bolt with a 16mm socket and the one on the other side as well. All right, you can see we have access to the frame ends. Here's the electronic sway bar disconnect motor. So now we're going to take the Warn winch plate and attach it. I believe 2 of the pieces are already attached to it that normally are separate, and they go attached to here, and then the rest attaches to these 2 holes here. These 2 end pieces aren't going to be attached with these bolts here. I guess the previous owner didn't want to detach those, but we'll see how this fits up first. Actually, we do need to take those, unfasten those. Yeah, I might have to undo these just because it's too tight. It's not going to fit. It's a 16mm socket. These are a 17mm socket, by the way. That's as high as it goes. Here's where, if you buy this, it comes with zip ties to hold this up, although I think I might have some. Well, wouldn't you know it? It's really close to the sway bar disconnect motor here, but I think once it's fastened up, it'll not be as close, but that's still really close. Jeez. Okay, I'm over here at my workbench. I test fit this, and this power wire is in fact going to rub pretty significantly against the grill, so I'm going to do what a lot of people have done, and they've relocated this by drilling a hole right here. So I need to take this box off. Looks like it takes a Allen bit. Actually, it looks like a 3T30 Torx will work. All right. So here you really want to make sure these go back in the right place. It's another advantage of this winch. It uses this bus style connection for the wiring, unlike the Warn Evos do. I believe this is how the Zeon is put together. This is a little bit more of a chore than I thought. It's kind of hard to get in there. Millimeter wrench. Go right around it. You got to bend this so that it can come out. Well, let me leave that there for now. Work on this hole. Okay, disclaimer. I'm not liable for doing this. It's just I've seen this done before. And people put a hole in right around here. I'm going to drill a pilot hole and use this, I guess, step bit to create a nice smooth hole for that wire to come out of on the side instead of back here. Some people plug this up, but it's not a hole. So there's actually a grommet back there, and it's not fully sealed anyway. This is more of a chore than I thought it'd be, but I really don't like how this just rubs against the grill and is bent, but I mean, it's well protected. It just might, over time, it'll rub all the paint off that part of the grill. It's not really that difficult. It's just with everything taken apart, I mean, you want to make sure everything's put back together properly for this thing to work properly. This is like some soft aluminum, and I don't have a way to really put this onto a bench vise. I don't want to undo those wires there. I'm not that electrically savvy. So I'm just going to like hold this with some vice grips, and I don't want to damage it. Hold it, but not. Getting there. You know, I'm just curious, did any of you that have done this, have you ever found that this cuts the wire at all? I mean, that's kind of the reason we're relocating, is worried that this is going to brush up against the grill, but then I worry that this is, you know, really sharp. I mean, it might not cut this, or it'll give you some warning, but it'd be nice if this had a grommet on there, but my grommets are just too small to fit this, perhaps. Maybe there is one I could try. All right, it's kind of hard to see, but I finally got that wire. It's coming in through there. To bend over, it was such a pain getting it to bend. I almost wonder if this is even worth it. Because I mean, the whole reason you're doing this is to prevent it from bending back here, well, and rubbing against the paint on the grill. And it just, to me, just looks really tacky, just so pushed up against her. But this is really kinked in here. Especially, it's not even fastened down. I've tried to squeeze this together and it bends this even more, but I think I can get this to work now. I just have to put this back on over here and then fasten it down and then reattach it. But man, what a pain. I wasn't able to use that grommet after all. Hopefully this doesn't cut through here. There's an awful lot. They've got electrical tape surrounding the loom, and there's the heat shrink, but that's further down. I thought this wasn't going to be that hard. Just drill the hole, relocate the wire, but yeah, quite a chore. This has added like an extra hour and a half to the task. I'm going to try to button it up here and finally get this winch back on and hopefully don't run into any other snags. Now that that's done, we can flip this thing on its side and we're going to put there's these special square shaped nuts that are going to slide into slots here on the bottom. They're going to slide into these slots here on the bottom. There's 4 of them. I don't believe there's any particular way. It looks like it can just go the way that it'll fit. I'm going to take some electrical tape and cover up these endings so that they don't slide out. You could probably use any sort of tape, but I guess it makes you wonder why they don't just include that already. But I guess it's so that you can make adjustments in the exact position in the holes, I guess. Might be slight variations depending on what sort of mount you're using or if it's tensioned. Probably gives it a little bit of flex too. When the winch goes under pretty strong forces, it probably caused the mounting plate to bend a little bit. All right, well, let's go mount this up and see how it fits. It's just sitting there in the worn winch plate. It does touch a little bit right here, but we don't have the whole thing tightened down yet. Kind of scratching on the metal there, but you can see there's just no room back here. That wire was just kinked right here. So I'm glad that I relocated this, but I'm really not too fond of it just sitting against the metal there. I really wish I could have fit a grommet. I guess only time will tell. But you know, these things go through a lot of bouncing off-road. I really worry about that over time. I'd say it's kind of a drawback, but we'll see. That may not be an issue. I mean, it's very solid in there. It's not going to be a lot of shifting of the plate or the wire, so it might be all right. I'm going to go ahead and open the hood. We're going to have to get up and under here to wire it anyways. Pretty long cable. This is the power wire. There's another negative one that attaches back there. Actually, I need to attach that. I probably should have done that before I brought this over here. Okay, I'm back here at the workbench. You have this is the back side of the winch. You have this negative stud here. Takes a 13mm socket. You can take your negative wire, ground wire that comes with the kit. This is kind of tight in here. But you're going to put that underneath the washer, flat washer, and the lock washer. You attach the stud. You're going to have to tighten this down. Great. Just lost the nut inside the casing there. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get it out with magnet. Got it. This, extremely useful. Little extended magnet. Highly recommend having one in your shop or wherever. Come on, bite. Really an angle here. I'm going to use this bench vise to bend. Probably not officially how you should do this, but they didn't give you a lot of room in there. Really don't like how that's just dangling there, but what am I going to do? I guess I could zip tie it to itself just to make sure it doesn't get caught up with the rope. Really hate having to jury rig stuff like this. Still pretty tight, but hopefully that won't ever get in contact. But it is what it is. The negative wire has plenty of room there. It's not bunching up on anything. You can see right here, these 4 holes need to line up. It's a little difficult because you're trying to align not only the hole of the plate, the hole of the winch, and the hole of the nut. Last but not least. Oh, God. You can see right there the stud coming up into that nut, so I know that one's threaded. Now you are going to want to torque the mounting bolts to 33 foot-pounds per the instructions. I think it's already on there that tight, but not a lot of weight. Actually, no. There. That one was. And because you have this right here sticking out just a tad, there are spacers that come with the Warn winch bumper that'll go right here. They're going to go on here. I don't know why that's stuck. There. Had to run to Home Depot and get some more hardware. I wanted to put these fasteners back in here, and it requires you to have your own hardware. It would normally come with the Warn winch mounting plate, but since I got this in Marketplace, it didn't come with them. So I just brought one of these fasteners over to Home Depot and found the hardware I needed. M8 by 1.25. Figure this would be easier to do now than when it's all in, because it's going to be hard to get into the back. All right, this is the Mopar winch, well, instructions for the winch mounting plate, but this is for the Fairlead adapter plate. Got our Badland Fairlead, the Mopar winch mounting plate. I wasn't supposed to put this on yet because it needs to go through the holes in the winch mount itself, which is a bummer because it's not long enough. These aren't long enough. When I bought the Rubicon 392 bumper that I put on the Mojave, and it came with the Warn winch plate that also came with this Warn Fairlead. Now I wasn't going to use this, so I thought it looked kind of weird saying Warn and then have a Badlands. But these bolts are a little bit longer than the Harbor Freight ones. And if you look at the two Fairleads, there's a lot more metal to go through on this side. So when you put the Warn Fairlead and hardware, you get much more threads on the end, and this should be able to go through the bumper and the winch mounting plate to fasten it up. So As tacky as it'll look, I'm gonna have a Warn Fairlead with a Badland Apex Badland Harbor Freight winch, but hey, it'll have a Fairlead. Actually, I kind of like that it's black, but yeah, maybe sometime down the road there might be a Warn to match this, but oh well, it'll at least work. Function before form, right? You see right here, this is much lower than on this side. The wiring is like right through here, so this gets in the way of it right there. Simple fix. Yep, first I think I'm gonna take this off and run the wiring through here. It'll be easier at this point. Anyone who tells you that these wires are easy to route through here is lying to you. I mean, is it the hardest thing in the world? No, but it's definitely not the easiest. Okay, you got power and your ground going up here. Had to make sure to watch out for all these other items that are in the way here. It's hard to see it, but right there's your ground and your power. Pull them up through that hole there underneath the fuse box, then ran them right along here. And I wanted to go underneath this bracket here, kind of help hold them in and keep it away from the heating of the engine. Kind of don't like how these are just floating here, but I might zip tie them. And now that I'm here, I'm going to install that battery disconnect and then connect this to the negative terminal. Okay, I'm probably going to get ripped for how I wired this, but I went ahead and installed the switch. I do think I want to use that. There wasn't a whole lot of options. I didn't have anything to mount this to, so I just zip tied it to this bracket. It's in there pretty tight. Will this bounce? Yeah, but I mean, the connectors are pretty well protected for the most part. I mean, it's as exposed as the actual terminals are, except this, but zip tied to certain areas so that there would be no rubbing. I didn't want this touching against this metal right here. It's a pretty sharp metal, so that ain't going anywhere. This is zip tied here. The rest of it's just kind of floating down there, but plenty of room down there. I don't think anything will snag. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hook up this wireless remote. Actually, press mode for 3 seconds to turn wireless on off. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wireless is on. Oh, gotta turn it on here. Yay! Pull this in some because this was kind of too much slack. Just like they warned about, I have to drill a hole in here. So it's up. This doesn't quite line up anymore because of the spacers. I don't know why that side does, but there we go. Back in here. Run that through first. Going to cheat a little and put some painter's tape on the back of this wrench to kind of hold the nut. There we go. All right, we're going to install the hook now. Hook is held in with this pin and a cotter pin. You take that out, reinstall it. It's easier than it looks because the pin wants to move. I'm trying to hold it still. You get the idea. Once you get that done, you're gonna want to either hook it up to one of your tow hooks, or you probably just bring it in, it'll stay put here. Oh, I kind of redid this over here. I didn't really like how the wiring was double looping, and I needed to clear this. If this is too far to the cabin, it closes on this padding, but there's a gap or a little indentation here that this fits nicely if you put it towards the front of the battery. But I'm gonna switch it to on, and the wireless remote's set to on already. Then you want to press and hold this. When this shows up lit, it is ready. Let's see, in. Now you want to be careful not to get your hands. Right there's plenty tight. It'd be nice if it had a little hook here. Oh yeah. And the only major issue I have here is, yeah, this spool knob's definitely, oh, it almost opens. Gonna need just a little bit of grinding off of that for this to go into free spool mode. Now this thing ejects so fast, might not even need free spool mode. Let's see. I mean, it's still nice to have it. Of course, you're going to want to pre-tension this. I need to find something to connect it to pre-tension. In order to take this off, there's a little Allen bolt here, and I think you just 3/16 Allen wrench. It comes out, and there's some oil in there. Okay, after using the grinding wheel to grind a lot of this off, I use the polishing wheel. I mean, it's not perfect, but at least there's no rough edges. It's fairly smooth. All right, engaged. Free spool. Now to putting this back in, the trick is to face it the same direction you took it out, and you might have to wiggle this a little and push on the bolt to get it to engage before it starts threading. But feels pretty good. Y'all thought I forgot, didn't you? 43.5. So we lost about 1/4 of an inch. And actually it's less than that because I was kind of rounding up last time. So actually about 1/8 of an inch, 1/8, 1/4. To me, that's not bad at all. Yep, right at 43.5. We're gonna put it in neutral. Add a little bit of pressure on the parking brake, or on the actual brake. She might not need it here. A little worried about this incline. It's actually winding up nicely. Guess it's a process. It's almost to the passenger side. All right, it's kind of bunching up in the middle there, so I'm gonna have to let it out. It's kind of hard to see, but looks like it's kind of bunching up right there. It didn't go all the way to the passenger side, so I'm gonna let some slack out and redo it here. Let me back up. It's still bunching up. Okay, looks like now we can start moving towards the other side. All right, the last several feet of it don't have to be under tension. All right, I think that's good enough. Well guys, that is the installation of the Badland Apex 12,000 pound electric winch in my 2021 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon 392. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.